Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this Hexagon twist pocket card. I have a belly band on there and then you just open it up like this, and inside it has 3 little cards where you can either stamp sentiments on, you can write your greeting, or on the front one, which I put in back to front so that you can actually see that it is. I was a bit worried that that might get hidden, but you could actually use a glue dot and put a gift card on there. Okay, so plenty of room to write and stamp sentiments. The paper there is from the Whimsy whatever, what was that one called? Whimsy and Wonder. Love that design, really love it. So there was that one. This was the first one that I did, and this was using the painted Expressions in ink. Okay, that's also got belly band. That design is on the reverse side of this. And this one, I know I haven't decorated the inside of the cards. I wasn't quite sure what to do because all the others have got a coloured cardstock here, and so it had a base, but it either means leaving one or just doing white on white, although I'm thinking about doing the orangey colour there. Okay, so there's that one, that's a birthday. And my third card, now both of these with the belly band, you can see I haven't done the full width there, it's almost like half of that width. But the third one I have done so the belly band is that total width, so it keeps it looking the same, if you know what I mean, by keeping it identical. So this one opens up and you have 3 cards inside. That one's got a little robin on it. That one I put Merry Christmas, which is from the stamp set for Unto Us, I believe. Yes, it is for Unto Us. And then there's another one there on that side. The little bird was from Be Jolly stamp set. And on this one you notice that I put little finger notches in them. When I gave the card to hubby, as you know, he's my guinea pig, he felt that people may not know that they're meant to be coming out, and he suggested putting like ribbon or something on them, but I thought finger notches would do it, otherwise you've got bits coming out. So there's that one. Okay, so I'm going to do one today with the wide belly band. I will put some measurements in the box below the video, and I will give you the measurements of what I've used for the narrow bands, and I will call them either wide band or narrow. But the one that I'm doing today is the designer series paper I'm using is 6x6, so there's no way I'm going to get one complete piece around there, so I'm just going to show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to start off with telling you the card pieces that you're going to be needing, and I am using Pear Pizzazz. And this piece, and sorry, inches for letter size cardstock and A4 cardstock users are the same. There is no change. I saw this video originally by Shrishti Patil, who did her measurements in metric. And then once I'd viewed that, if those of you that watch YouTube know that once you've seen a video on something, the selections of others come up. So the one that I've actually followed is by Paper Pixie. So these are her measurements for the inches. But one thing I will say, if you're using A4 cardstock, do check that, because our A4 is 8 1/4 by 11.59 inches. Make sure your 8 1/4 does actually measure 8 1/4. These are the bits that's what I had to cut off of my crumb cake to make it, let's show you better, to make it 8 1/4 inches. It was just a tad over, and this is what I've had to cut off of my Pear Pizzazz. Okay, so you may well find that it's a bit bigger. The first one I did, I thought I'd made it wrong because when I folded it in half, they weren't meeting up with each other. Right, so there was that. You also need, let's see, you need designer series paper. Not that one, where's my other one? Let's use that to mark where I'm getting. Right, you need 3 pieces, and I am using, where's my, oh here it is. I am using gingerbread and peppermint designer series paper. And you need 2 pieces that measure 2 1/4 inches by 3 7/8 inches, and 1 piece that's 2 1/4 by 4 inches. Then you will need 3 pieces of cardstock, which is the Pear Pizzazz, and they should measure 2 1/4 by 4 inches. And then 3 pieces of basic white, which measure 2 inches by 3 1/4 inches. And then for the wide belly band, you need a piece of cardstock that is 9 3/8 inches by 2 3/8 inches. And if you're using 6 by 6 paper, you need 2 pieces that measure 4 inches and by 2 1/4 inches. If you're doing the wide, and you've got long cards, designer series paper, you need 9 3/8 by 2 1/4. Right, so let us get started with the fun bit, which is the large piece. Now, because we have several bits of scoring to do on this, I prefer to use my big scoreboard. You can use your trimmer. Now I'm going to use this, and I've got myself more organised this time to use my take your pick. So take the pointy bit off. In fact, I shouldn't just throw it over there, should I? I should put the top on it, otherwise I might pierce myself. And I'm going to use the smaller end for my scoring. Now, to start off with, start with your 8 1/8 inches across the top, and for this you need to score at 1/2 inch by 2 7/8 inches by 5 1/4 inches by 7 5/8 inches. Now, if you turn that 90 degrees, so you're on your 8 1/4 inches, score at 4 1/8 inches. Turn this back. Now what you need to do is to flip this over. Now we're doing scoring on this side, on both sides, because that will help when you need to twist your card into the hexagon to start off with. So what we need to do is we need to score from that fold line down over to this score line. Let's see if I can show you the, yes, you can see those. So we're going to go from that 1/2 inch mark there, come down here, down to that score line, and then we're going to do from that corner there, straight through there, down to here. Now on my scoreboard I've marked my 6 inch line so that I can put that score line into my 6 inch line. Now, let me see if I can show you all of this. Not quite. And if I can turn that sideways and see if I put that one there and there, can you see it all? Not quite. So you're not going to see that with my trimmer either, are you? Okay, so I am going to score from that line there. It is in my 6 inch track, and this score line that you can see here is in my 6 inch track down here as well. Let's make sure I am perfectly in there. Now I want to show you from this end because I don't want to score straight from there onto my paper, just in case that tears it or causes a little bit of a ruck with the paper. So I'm just going to go in about 1/4 of an inch and score from the paper off. Okay, so I will make sure that I don't let this move, and I am going to score that will go right through the centre and right down off. Okay, so it's gone from that corner where that score line is through the centre of this one and then off where this one is. Okay, now we're going to do the same from that corner through there down to that corner. I wonder if I can get this one up. No. Alright, you can only see one at a time. Right, so I'm going to go from that one there down to here. Again, I'm going to go from inside the paper to go off. And then I'm going to score all the way down. Okay, so I finished up with 2 parallel lines. So let's pop that down. Now all the straight lines from this side, they're valleys, right? So all your valley lines should be folded backwards. So I'm going to do those and give them a good score, or a good burnish rather. I have been scored. And then that one. Again, always make sure that they line up nice and straight. And this straight one. This one. And then the one in the middle. Now this is where, if your paper, your cardstock is the correct size, it is going to meet up, which it does. Okay. If it doesn't, what I would do personally is I would just put it back into my trimmer and slice off the bit that I could see. Okay, now we're going to turn this back over the other way so that we have the diagonal lines as valleys. So now they need to be folded backwards. And then that one as well. So there we go, that's all of our score lines. We also now need, let's see, to get this in the correct position, you want your score lines, your 1/2 inch to go backwards like that, and you need to have a rectangle top left hand and bottom right hand that doesn't have any score lines in it. And then what we're going to do is we are going to cut off that strip there just down to the halfway mark, and then from the halfway mark down to there. Again, you could do this with your trimmer if you wanted to. I prefer to use my big scissors. I like my big scissors because I can just open twice and then that's it, that's the cut. I'm going to do a very slight mitre on that corner. I'm going to give a very slight mitre on that corner as well. And then I'm going to turn around and do this side as well. And then I'm going to do a slight mitre there and a slight mitre there. Okay, so now we need our trimmer. And don't get your pieces muddled up, which is why I've put labels on all of mine. So with these 3, you'll find one is bigger than the other two. Okay, so these are my two smaller ones, and we need to slice these diagonally, and you need to slice from the top right hand corner down to the bottom left hand corner. You can do them one at a time if you like, or you could do them both at the same time. I'm going to do mine one at a time, just in case. Now this one, you can't avoid taking your blade either straight into that corner or straight into that corner, so it's better to start your blade off in the middle of your cards, your designer series paper, like that, and then come back again. Okay, that's those two, and make sure I've just picked up the right one. Yep, that's the smaller one. Let's move my cutter up there a bit. Okay, so that's another one like that and one like that. Okay, that's that done. Now we need to adhere this on, and we should finish up one piece there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. Okay, I took a photograph of one of them when I was working, just as a reminder for myself, so that I've got the square, triangle, triangle, and then the one that I put some tape on, which will be that, and then the bottom is going to be taped down here, and then triangle and triangle. Okay, so that's my reference point. So I'm going to adhere these in first, or on rather. Well, it is in, I suppose, because it's going into like a little section. Right, that's it. The punch that I used for the finger notches is a 1/2 inch circle punch, but I think anything that's quite small will do the job nicely, because you don't want a big finger notch, you just want it big enough so that people can actually see that that's what's meant to happen with it. There's also a reason for decorating them, so that it will tell people. Mind you, I think for a lot of crafters, when we're sending cards, they're normally to people who we know, or know us, and equally they know that we're card makers, and they know to expect funny shapes, unusual shapes. When my grandchildren were a lot younger, they used to say that the cards that they received were just as exciting as the gifts, because they never knew what the card was going to be doing, which was really nice, and they've never grown out of that actually. There we go. I deliberately used a directional pattern for this one. All the others that I've used so far are not, and I just wondered how this would look. Obviously at this stage it looks fine, but once it all gets twisted up, you could also decorate the others if you wanted to, so that you could turn the card over and have the same patterns on the other side. All you would need to do is repeat these 3 pieces, but when you cut this one you would need to cut it the other direction. Would you? Is that true? No, you wouldn't. What made me think that? Forget that. because I did get myself in a pickle with one of these. That's why I made them and they wouldn't fit. Oh, it must... Would that be the other side? Maybe I was putting them on the wrong side. Ah. Oh, right, okay. Yeah. It was using, if I wanted to use the other design, if I wanted to put half of one design, half the other design, then they would need to be done differently. Okay, so there's that. Now let's use some tear and tape. Now when you put this on, don't go right up to the edge of your fold. Leave a tad. And the reason I say that is when you fold this over, if you've cut too much off here, if this tape is right up against the edge, you're going to have sticky showing through here. So if you just leave a little tad of a gap there, I'll bring it up to show you so you can see how much I'm leaving. Obviously you don't want it too far away because you do want it to close properly. And mine is going over the edge a bit, but that's because I'm going to curl the extra bit in, just so that it does go right up to the edge. Now let me see if you... Okay, you can see that's bending over. You can see how much of a gap I've left there. Okay, I think it's probably easier than trying to look at it that way. Okay, now what we need to do is take off the backing. Let's put that one back in now. And if you've gone over the edge like I have, just curl it back. Now the next bit is the only bit that I consider to be a little bit fiddly, and that is fold your card in half like that, but you need to fold that inside and that inside, and of course they're sticky. Okay, so put that one down, that one down. There we go. Okay, so let's just give this a good burnish to make sure that the tear and tape is adhering nicely. You can see on that one where I didn't cut off enough, it's really coming off over the edge there. Am I bothered about it? Do I want to try and cut that off? If you do try doing this, don't go so far that you cut on the fold line. There we go, that one's off. And that one, perfect. Why couldn't I do them both perfectly? Well, that wouldn't be JanB, would it? Right, okay, now if you hold your card like this, you may need to give it a bit of encouragement to make it fold, but there we go. If you just push this side in and give that one a little push, and where's the other one gone? And that one in, and then they all go down, okay? Now you can see why I like to do a belly band for this one. I think it was Paper Pixie who, she did quite a wide ribbon to close hers, and that looked really nice. Unfortunately I don't have the ribbon that she used, so I'm not going to do that. Now the next thing we need to do are these. So we've got 3 of these. What you may find is that obviously when you're using the trimmer and you line this up at 2 and whatever inches, I said 2 inches I think this was, isn't it? No, 2 1/4. If you're, say, just onto the black line, maybe right towards the outside edge of it, this will be fraction wider. If you're on the inside of the black line, this is going to be a bit more narrow, and it could dictate how it slides in here. Now that first one's got to go down there. Oh, that one's sliding in and out nicely. And this one goes in front of this triangle and behind this triangle. Well, that one's going quite nicely as well. And then this one at the back. Right, okay. Now what I did with these, when I cut my 2 1/4 inches, let me show you my trimmer. Where, let's have a look. That 2 1/4 mark there, I made sure that my cardstock just touched the outside of this black line here. Okay, and it was just enough to make that move, because I do find that 2 1/4 is, well, was with me a tad too big. It may be that I'm always cutting too far over on the black line, but I don't know. But if you find that, at least you know what the solution to it is. Now I'm going to put these on. If you want to stamp on these, you may want to do it beforehand. In fact, I suppose that's a better idea. Now what I'm going to do, the 3 that I'm going to use, one is Merry Christmas, which I said was from For Unto Us, so it's that one there. I'm also going to do one with the little robin, which is that one. And that is from Be Jolly, which is that one. Okay, so this is where that Father Christmas came from on that one. And what else have I got here that I'm going to use? This one, which is from Whimsical Trees. So I thought I'm going to decorate each of them with something. And I'm not going to go too close to the top because I'm very aware that I'm going to be punching finger holes here. So I think, do I want to use red or do I want green? I'm not sure whether I actually washed that, did I? I think I'd like to use green. Where's my chamois? Oh my goodness, what's happened to my chamois? Have you left it out on your desk somewhere? I haven't used it today. Oh, and in that case then, let's get the Pear Pizzazz ink. I will get my now I don't make a habit of doing this, but as you can see, that is still very, very red. I'll clean that off there. There we go, that's good. That's going to be green enough for me now without a hint of red at the background there. Right, so, no, we don't need to do it on there, do we? Now let me see how far down I can bring this. The last thing you want is to see my head leaning over. If I do it crooked, I will use it for the time being, but before I share it on my blog, before I share it on my blog, I'll redo one of these. I find this quite misleading because I go to put Merry in the middle, but then that means Christmas is off to the side here. That's alright. So there's that, and I will just use my bone folder to flatten down the edges because they're raised because of the way it's been cut on the paper trimmer. And I'll be quite happy, that's fine. So the other two I'm going to be using black memento. Put that there. By using these two I get a little bit of colour on these. Little like notelets. Oh my goodness, you're wonky, look at you. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter, he's fine. I might get a branch for him and just do it like that. I don't think I've got anything here that I can use for that. I don't know why I've got so many stamp sets on my desk, I really don't. No, there's nothing there that I can use. So this is the holly. Where's my other one? Just pop that up into the corner. There we go, that's good. Right, to colour the robin, what I did previously was I took my light and let's use my scrap paper again because the colours will bleed. I'm using blends. I used the light crumb cake to paint his body, not that end. I use the pen end of this. And I'll use the dark to go over his beak and a little bit on his tail, come through onto his body and his wings. And then I used light real red for his breast, little robin red breast. That's that, but I used the dark red for his bobble hat. Okay, now what I did for this on the other one, I actually cut the berries off of the designer series paper, but I'm not inclined to do that. Do I have a lightish pink? Where's Flighty Flamingo? Let's try the pale one of that. Let's see if that will work. Oh yes, that's good. Although on this one I could use a real red, couldn't I? Because I'm doing this. Okay, let's go over that. Well, that's something anyway. So if you're using Whimsical and Wonder paper and you want to paint this, you can do the where's the old olive? You can do the berries using light Flirty Flamingo, and this one is light old olive, so this goes more like Pear Pizzazz, which is the colour of my cardstock that I've used. In fact, I think this might look a bit better if it was with dark old olive. What do you think? Not really showing up enough, is it? Where's dark old olive? There we go. Oh, that's better. I'm not going in for any shading. As you know, colouring isn't really my forte. I'm very much a quick and dirty colourer. And I'm not sure colourer is a proper word. Right, let's move all of those out of the way. And we can adhere those onto here. With our wonky bird. Did I do that on the wrong? No, I flattened that one, didn't I? Right. We've got a pre-release bundle coming out for customers on the 1st of November, and the stamp set and the dies will be in the new spring-summer catalogue next year, but the designer series paper and the gems won't be carried forward. Okay, so if you're one of my customers or you live in the UK, Germany, Austria, France, oh, I've done it again. Oh, I haven't shortened these. Okay, I showed you this one last time, didn't I? Reach for the wax paper. Is that big enough? I need to put this back into my trimmer, but I don't want my trimmer to get all gunged up with sticky, so I put some wax paper over it. And what size should these have been? 3 pieces of basic white by 3 3/4. 4 inches. So let's do this one to 3 3/4. That's better. And this one, three and 3/4. Okay, so if you didn't watch last week's video to pick up that tip, there it is again. As you can see, it's not a rare mistake that I make, I have to say. Right, let's see if this one's going to fit now. Ah, no, don't drop it. Right, there we go. That's much better, okay. Right, if you, oh, that was the piece I used for that, never mind. If you do see my blog on the day that this video goes live, have a look for a photograph of that, see whether I drew on a branch or whether I redid it. Because I'm sitting here thinking it can't be that much, it can't be very difficult just to draw a branch underneath him, could it? And there's glue there, so I'm going to have to erase that. Don't know if you can see it shining there, up here. I'll wait till it's properly dried. I've made that mistake before. Now, before I punch the finger marks in here, I take my pencil and I mark at 1 1/8, except I've got to, let's turn it sideways, 1 and 1/8. One and 1/8, and then I can punch my finger notches halfway. Now this is a retired punch. It is a Stampin' Up one, but 1/2 inch. It's lovely. I never get rid of my circles, squares, whether they're punches, dies or anything like that. They just are too useful. That's that one. It's a little bit difficult because of going through 2 layers of paper, cardstock even. Whoops. But it works. There we go. So that's those. So I'm not really... In fact, I'll take the sentiment, put that at the back, so that's the first one that gets seen. The next one is the holly, and the next one is the robin, which I'm going to put back to front. Okay, so if you're opening it up, you see that you see there's something here because you can see the finger notches, so you turn it. Okay, that's my reasoning on that. So what we need next is to do the belly band. Now what I found was on these two, this one's not too bad, but this was really quite tight to get on and off. But on this one, I folded it around gently as I normally do. That's better. And then I put it into my scorer and scored 2 lines. So what I'm going to do is, now this is the straight bit, the main bit. I am going to, work from the front. In fact, turn it back to front. And I'm looking so that I've got about the same here, and very gently just fold it over. I'm not squashing all of these down because this has got to come over it. So I'm going to pop that back onto my scoreboard. And with my scoring tool, again using the small one, I'm just doing this at 6 inches, and I can see where there's a, you can see where there's a rough fold there. So I'm going to come this side of it towards the right hand side of it. Let me just tip this up because I can't see it very well. Right, don't let it move as you put it down. Right, okay. So that's that. I'm just going to move it over very slightly. I'm not doing 1/8 of an inch. I'm just making this line against one of these bits that stand out. Whoops. Maybe to the edge of it. Okay, so you can see how close I've got those two. So it's going to be more of a straight edge there. I'm going to do the same here on the left hand side of this unpleasant fold. As you know, I don't like folding cardstock without proper score lines. Well, try and put this down without moving it. Ready? Good. Stay still. There we go. Now I'm going to move it along, and what this is actually against the end of this bit that sticks out. Okay, so it's, I don't know really quite how thick that is. I suppose I ought to measure that so that when I'm working out the metric measurements, at least I'll know what that is, because I won't be able to go back to recheck it. Oh, it's probably about 0.3. Okay, so I'm going to fold on that line first. and then the next line. Obviously it's not particularly easy to do it when you've got such a narrow gap between the lines. I'm not squashing it down, burnishing it down really hard. I just want to make sure it's going. And the same for that one. If you're not so bothered about these lines, then don't bother with this extra fussing around. It's not really that difficult. Okay. Now, that should fit around there nicely. Yes. Okay, it looks as if it's going to be miles too big if I push that in and I push that in. But you have to bear in mind, if you're going to use this first one to put a gift card on, you're obviously going to have extra width in here. Okay. Now, if I should have bought a long piece of cardstock, not cardstock, I should have bought a long piece of designer series paper over with me so that I could demonstrate. I'm just going to say 2.5 inches. I can't remember what it sounds a bit too big. Never mind. It's for demonstration purposes only. So if you were working with designer series paper that is 12 inches long, then you can cut your piece that's 9 3/8 long. And the way that I would do that to fit that onto here is, once I had closed this up, I would just imagine this is the right size and I've folded it correctly. What I would do is I'd put glue on the inside of this, and then I would adhere it onto the complete side of that, line it up the way it should be properly, and then I would glue that down. But I can't do that with this. So what I've got instead is I have 2 separate pieces. So what I'm going to do with my first one, I'm going to check my sizes. That does actually fit there. Not to worry. Okay. I can see that there's quite a large gap at the end here from the score lines. Now I'm going to go ahead with my piece. If I find that this is too short, I will change the measurements in the box below. Okay, so please check in the box below before you cut your cardstock, your designer series paper. Okay, so first of all, let's adhere this one on. It may not matter that it's quite short, but there's only one way to find out, and that is to actually do it. So I am centering this halfway between. Now these I'm going to adhere together using my tear and tape. Now what I do for when I'm doing belly bands, I take one end, put the strip on the end there. Okay, so this is on the outside of the belly band. Now I'm going to turn over and put this end on the inside. Okay, so just make sure that's adhered down nicely. Oh, I knew I had another one somewhere. I'd forgotten that I was so well organised. It doesn't happen often. Right, here we go. So this is, the close is going to be at the front of my card. Okay, so that's the front. I'm going to put that there. And obviously the sticky strip is on the top there. Then I am going to pull this over and close that. There we go, that's nice. In fact, there's enough room there if I want to put a gift card in there. Okay, and that's what the back looks like, okay, with that sort of a gap. I think I would probably prefer that to have an extra 1/8 of an inch on it, maybe 1/4. Anyway, for the front here, I'm going to put this one on. And that doesn't look so bad, does it? So let's do this. And I'm also pleasantly surprised with how all the stripes look. They are going in different directions, but it doesn't look wrong. See what I mean? Different directions, all of them. I suppose that's what helps. They're all going different directions. So there we go, that's that. And then I'm going to decorate this with a sentiment. Now I have some pieces of basic white cardstock here. My sentiment I've chosen for this one is Season's Greetings, which is from Merriest Moments. This is why I've got so many stamp sets on my desk, I suppose. Now what colour? I did green, didn't I? So let's do the sentiment in green as well. There we go. See how close I can get it down here. Let's see if I can get this straight. It's okay, isn't it? That's straight. That's good. So what I'm going to do on my belly band is I have these die cut shapes from the designer series paper, but I think I would like to have a base for them to be sitting on, and I suppose green would be the best colour. Oh, here's my bag of green. I knew I might be doing this, so I brought some paper with me. Either like that or like that, and then what I'm planning is to put that across the centre like that. Okay, so I think I brought my dies over. Let me just clear a space to get my big shot up here. I just need to cut a circle or two. What size do I need? The largest one by the no, second to largest one. I could do one of those, couldn't I? And in fact, how about, no, that would be better if I did that with a smaller one. That would be better. And then I could use either larger one to layer it on, or do I want to do that on white? No, I think green's enough. Excuse me while I talk to myself. Do it quite a lot. Right. only need to cut one circle, I think. I'm not going to bother about layering it onto a scallop circle. There we go. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. And because I'm no good at cutting straight lines, I'll just pop that in there. And cut the other end as well. It's not quite short enough. That's better. I like that. That up there. Now what do I think looks best with this? Don't tell me that's going to be too big. I can always go over the top, doesn't matter. Or because some of these you can't actually see what they are once you've put a greeting over it, and you could do it at an angle, couldn't you? I'm sure somebody's shouting out to me which is the best one to do. I think green and red looks best. Just not sure what to do about this. Maybe I should just leave that off. Okay, let's pop this up on dimensionals. Where's my tweezers gone? Oh, there we go. So what did I decide I wanted to do? Oh, this one. That's it. Are you sure? Just double check. You've got a red one. No, don't like red. Well, I do like red, but not for this. Oh, we've got a green one. Nope. No, I'm going to stick with this one. Let's have some big dimensionals. Could actually do two of them, couldn't I? There we go, that's better, isn't it? Shame I haven't got a different colour for that. Oh, because there's so much green. That's what I'm going to do. Got a bit of glue on my finger. Right, just make sure you don't come over the edge with your glue dots, your dimensionals. Okay, so that one could go there. So you can come over the top. That's it. Right, avoid that bit. Where's the big one's gone? There we go. think that should be good. Would you believe it? Would you just believe it? Put my dimensionals on the wrong side. Let's do that. Oops, no, I didn't mean to put you on top of each other. Come on, don't be silly. Right, you can stay that side and you can go over to the far side. There we go. Let go. So you don't really have them on either side, can you? Okay. Let's get rid of that one. Straight in the bin. This is a good thing about not pushing the dimensionals down too soon. Oh, that's better. There we go. That's all right. So just adhere that onto here. Do I want to put it on dimensionals or straight down? Straight down, I think. So that's Tombow on nearly all of it. Turn it at an angle. Yes or no? Yes. Thank you. Should we do this dimensionals then? Where's the big ones gone? There we go. So we've got Season's Greetings on the front, we've got Merry Christmas on the inside. Oh, I'm not going to fiddle with you. Not sure it's quite straight, but we don't mind. Well, that's not too bad. Well, what do you think about that? I think that's turned out really nicely. I do find it a bit difficult at times when I'm designing on the hoof, so to speak. And there we go, the little bits on the inside. Yep, I'm really pleased for that. So thank you from Shush Deep Chill and also the paper Pixie. So these are my cards. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you decide to give it a try. It's easy. As I say, the only fiddly bit was making sure that you put the two sides, get those stuck down beautifully. Many thanks for joining me today. I will put all the inches measurements which suit letter size cardstock users and A4 cardstock users in the box below the video. I will work out the centimetre measurements as well. It may be that I'll go back to Shushti's if I can't work it out, but I will try and get it this kind of size. If you want to buy any of the products that I featured in this card, they'll all be listed in the box below, and there'll be a link to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. If you do shop with me because you don't have your own Stampin' Up demonstrator, many thanks, I do appreciate your business. But please remember to use the HOSTESS code so that I can send you free product when I send out Happy Mail at the beginning of November. If you've enjoyed my video and would like to be notified each time I upload a new one, please click on the subscribe button down there in the bottom right hand corner and then click on the bell so that you get the notifications. Many thanks. I look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, please take care, stay safe, happy crafting. Cheerio.